Around 7,000 years ago, as the Neolithic era unfolded and human societies were mastering farming and settling into permanent villages, the world itself was transforming. The vast, once lush expanse that we now call the Sahara Desert was a thriving landscape, rich with lakes, rivers, and grasslands teeming with life. But nature's grand design was shifting. Rising temperatures and dwindling rains began to parch the land, slowly draining the life from this green paradise. Earth's subtle orbital wobbles, shifting winds, and solar rhythms drove the Sahara's transformation. Looming in the northwest, the Atlas Mountains stood as silent sentinels. Their towering peaks played a role, casting rain shadows that nudged moisture away, tipping the scales toward dryness. Over centuries, the green gave way to golden dunes, and fertile plains to endless sand. This dramatic change reshaped not just the environment, but the fate of the peoples living at the edges of the desert, forcing them to adapt, migrate, and innovate in a world growing harsher with each passing generation. In the Neolithic world, stones still ruled, until humans noticed something strange in the fire. In certain places, greenish rocks glowed and dripped a red, gleaming metal when burned hot enough. That metal was copper. Soft, shiny, and easy to shape, it was unlike anything seen before. People began to dig for this fire metal, hammering it into beads, tools, and blades. It marked the beginning of something new. But copper, though beautiful, was still soft. Tools bent, weapons dulled. In their experiments, early metalworkers threw all kinds of stones into the fire to see what would melt. Among them was a dull, grayish rock later known as cassiterite, a source of tin. No one knows exactly how it happened, but one day, someone melted copper ore and cassiterite together in the same fire. The result was unexpected. A new metal that was harder, sharper, and far more durable than copper alone. That metal was bronze. What began as trial and error soon became a revolution. Metalworkers learned the right balance, about 9 parts copper to 1 part tin, to create this powerful alloy. With bronze, they shaped a new world, better weapons, sturdier tools, and symbols of wealth and power. In the city of Uruk, built toward the end of the Stone Age and rising into glory in the Bronze Age, this metal became essential. Bronze tools helped shape temples and walls, bronze weapons guarded its gates. As Uruk flourished, so did the use of bronze, marking a shift from stone and bone to gleaming metal. Other great cities followed, Ur, Eridu, and Lagash, centers of power, trade, and culture. This was the Uruk period, a time of monumental change. Cities grew larger and more complex. Temples became ziggurats, writing began to appear, and with it came some of the most important inventions in human history. The plow, which cut into the soil and made farming more efficient. The wheel, first used for pottery, then for carts, transforming transport forever. The sail, which harnessed wind to move boats along rivers like the Euphrates and Tigris, opening up long-distance trade. These weren't just tools, they were turning points. They allowed cities to thrive, populations to grow, and ideas to travel farther and faster than ever before. The age of metal, cities, and invention had arrived, and the world would never be the same. But with complexity came the need to remember, to record, to organize, to command. Around 3200 BCE, the Sumerians pressed wedge-shaped marks into clay tablets, inventing cuneiform, the world's first true writing system. It was more than communication, it was permanence. At the same time, along the life-giving Nile, the peoples of Upper and Lower Egypt began carving sacred symbols into stone. These hieroglyphs would become the language of priests, kings, and gods, another great leap from oral tradition into recorded history. Writing had arrived, and with it, the first echoes of the ancient world as we know it. And far to the east, in the Indus River basin, early symbols began to bear an undeciphered script, neither spoken nor understood today. Though its meaning is lost, its presence speaks volumes. A third great civilization had entered the age of writing. With it, the ancient world was beginning to leave its mark. As these civilizations flourished along mighty rivers and across vast lands, the world began to shrink, not through conquest, but through exchange. From the fertile Nile and Tigris-Euphrates valleys to the distant Indus plains, traders forged routes that carried more than goods. They carried ideas, technologies, and culture. Egyptians bartered gold and grain, Sumerians traded textiles and crafted tools, while the peoples of the Indus Valley offered exquisite beads and seals. Meanwhile, the Indo-European groups, distinct in language and tradition, connected these far-flung cultures, weaving a web of interaction stretching across continents. These early trade routes became the lifeblood of growing civilizations, binding humanity together in a shared story of discovery and connection. On the rocky islands of Malta, ancient hands continued shaping stone in ways that still inspire wonder thousands of years later. Between 3600 and 2300 BCE, the Neolithic people had erected massive megalithic temples, some of the oldest freestanding stone structures on Earth. These temples, including the famous Hagar-im, Nadra, and Tarshin temples, were built with incredible precision and care, serving as centers of ritual and community. Their towering stones, aligned with the movements of the sun and stars, reveal a deep connection to nature and the cosmos. Today, these remarkable sites are recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Sites, standing as silent testaments to human creativity, faith, and the timeless desire to understand the world beyond. Around 3100 BCE, a powerful leader known as Nama, also called Menes, united the lands of Upper and Lower Egypt, forging a single kingdom along the life-giving Nile. This unification marked the birth of one of history's most enduring civilizations and the beginning of the early dynastic period in Egypt. The famous Nama palette captures this moment symbolically, depicting the joining of two lands and the triumph of centralized power. Nama established Memphis as the capital, laying the foundations for a unified state ruled by the pharaoh. Under his reign, the standardization of religious practices, royal iconography, and bureaucratic control began, setting in motion an era of monumental achievements and a timeless legacy that would shape Egypt for millennia. Along the coast of what is now Peru, the Norte Chico civilization, also known as Karalsupe, blossomed between 1300 and 1800 BCE. As one of the earliest known complex societies in the Americas, Norte Chico left no written records, ceramics, conventional visual art or evidence of metallurgy. Yet their monumental architecture speaks volumes: massive platform mounds, sunken plazas, and carefully planned urban centers like Caral, Aspero, and Bandoria rose from the earth, testifying to a society with organized labor and rich spiritual life. Their economy was likely based on cotton cultivation, fishing, and limited agriculture, sustaining a thriving community. Though no traditional writing system has been found, they may have used an early form of record-keeping through quipu, a knot-based system later known in Andean cultures. This quiet yet powerful civilization reminds us that the foundations of culture are sometimes built in silence. Around 3000 BCE, the Austronesian peoples began a remarkable maritime journey, developing their own version of the sail that would propel them across vast stretches of ocean. Originating from Taiwan, they set out into the Pacific, navigating open waters with skill and determination. This expansion led to the settlement of thousands of islands, from the Philippines to Polynesia, Micronesia, and beyond. Their voyages shaped the cultural and linguistic map of the Pacific, showcasing human ingenuity and the spirit of exploration in one of history's greatest migrations. Between 2900 and 2700 BCE, a significant localized flood swept through parts of ancient Sumer, leaving a profound mark on its people's collective memory. This devastating event would echo through millennia, inspiring some of the earliest flood myths, stories of great waters rising, God's wrath, and humanity's survival. These myths would resonate far beyond Sumer, shaping narratives in cultures across the ancient world, and reminding us how nature's forces have long influenced human belief and storytelling. Around 2850 BCE, deep within the ancient White Mountains of California, a tiny seed sprouted, the Methuselah tree. Discovered by scientist Edmund Schulman in the mid-20th century, this bristlecone pine is the oldest known non-clonal living organism on Earth. Surviving harsh, arid conditions at high altitudes with freezing winters and intense sunlight, the Methuselah gnarled, weather-beaten form stands as a silent witness to thousands of years of history. Its enduring rings hold stories far older than most human civilizations, a testament to resilience and time itself. By 2600 BCE, the Sumerians had transformed the ancient city of Ur into a powerful political and cultural hub. Alongside sprawling temples and towering ziggurats, scholars developed groundbreaking knowledge in mathematics. They created early systems of arithmetic, geometry, and algebra, using a base 60 or sexagesimal number system that still influences us today, visible in our 60-minute hours and 360-degree circles. These mathematical advances allowed for precise land measurement, architectural planning, and the complex accounting required for trade and governance. The first dynasty of Ur, led by kings like Mezzenepeda, who is credited with military victories and consolidating power, and his successors, guided this flourishing era. Their rule combined political strength with intellectual progress, laying the foundation for future empires and advancing science and engineering in the ancient world. Between 2800 and 1800 BCE, waves of Indo-European peoples expanded into Western Europe, bringing new customs, technologies, and cultural influences. They introduced distinctive bell beaker pottery, named for its unique bell-shaped ceramic vessels, and advanced metallurgy. In the Iberian Peninsula, these peoples established significant sites like Valencina de la Concepción and Humanejos, known for their rich burial mounds and complex communities. Years later, groups moved further north into the British Isles, where they built monumental stone structures, most famously Stonehenge, with its towering stones arranged in precise astronomical alignments. This prehistoric site reveals a sophisticated understanding of the heavens and ritual life, standing as a lasting testament to early European beliefs and social organization. After the early dynastic period, Egypt entered the Old Kingdom around 2686 BCE, with the Third Dynasty, a time when centralized authority grew stronger, allowing pharaohs to mobilize vast resources and labor. This era marked a major phase of state building and monumental construction. Pharaohs like Djoser, who commissioned the first step pyramid at Saqqara under the architect Imhotep, and the great pyramid builders of the Fourth Dynasty, Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure, transformed Egypt's landscape. Their pyramids at Giza remain among the most extraordinary architectural achievements in human history. Near them stands the mysterious Great Sphinx, believed to represent Pharaoh Khafra, guarding the necropolis with its imposing presence. These monuments symbolize the pharaohs' divine power and the Egyptians' sophisticated knowledge of engineering, astronomy, and religious belief, hallmarks of the Old Kingdom's enduring legacy. Between 2600 and 1900 BCE, the Indus Valley Civilization flourished along the fertile plains of the Indus River, creating some of the world's earliest and most sophisticated urban centers. Cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa boasted carefully planned streets, advanced drainage systems, and impressive public buildings, including the famous Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro, an extraordinary structure believed to have served ritual or communal purposes. The people crafted and used intricately designed stamp seals, likely employed in trade, administration, and religious practices, reflecting a highly organized society. Their craftsmanship, extensive trade networks, and sophisticated urban planning reveal a civilization at its peak, shaping the cultural fabric of South Asia for generations. Between 1300 and 1900 BCE, the Longshan culture flourished along the Yellow River in what is now northern China. Renowned for their exquisite, highly polished black pottery, these communities developed early forms of social organization and agricultural settlement. Their villages laid the groundwork for later dynasties, with advancements in craft, ritual, and fortification hinting at growing complexity and centralization. The Longshan culture stands as a key chapter in the unfolding story of ancient China. Sumer, already a flourishing cradle of innovation and culture, attracted waves of Semitic-speaking tribes drawn by its wealth and fertile lands. Among these was Eber, whose sons Peleg and Joktan played pivotal roles in the early movements of peoples. Peleg, whose name means division, reflecting a time when humanity's clans and languages spread and separated, led his descendants to settle in the ancient city of Ur. It was from this lineage that the legendary figure Abraham would one day emerge, forging a profound legacy that shaped the spiritual foundations of many civilizations to come. Around 2350 BCE, Sargon of Akkad emerged from humble origins. Legend says he was a cupbearer to Yozababa, the king of Kish, rising to seize power through military genius and political skill. He united the often warring city-states of Mesopotamia under his rule, founding the Akkadian Empire, the world's first known empire. Sargon established a centralized administration, standardized language and laws, and expanded trade networks, creating a legacy of empire building that would influence civilizations for millennia. His reign marked a turning point where city-states gave way to large, multi-ethnic empires. Around 2200 BCE, as some of the world's earliest civilizations flourished, from Egypt's Old Kingdom to Mesopotamia's Akkadian Empire and the urban centers of the Indus Valley, something strange and deadly occurred. A dramatic and sudden shift in global climate, now known as the 4.2 Kiloyear Event, ushered in over 100 years of ultra-dry conditions across much of the world. Scientists attribute this prolonged drought to disruptions in monsoon systems and atmospheric circulation, likely triggered by changes in solar radiation or oceanic patterns such as the North Atlantic Oscillation. The weakening of the Indian summer monsoon and widespread aridification led to crop failures, declining river flows, and ecological collapse. For societies deeply dependent on stable seasonal cycles, this climatic upheaval brought famine, migration, and the eventual unraveling of complex state systems. Following the environmental upheaval of the 4.2 Kiloyear Event, Egypt's Old Kingdom began to unravel. Central authority weakened as drought and famine challenged the pharaoh's control. Resources dwindled, and regional governors, or nomarchs, grew more powerful, fracturing the once unified state. This period of political fragmentation and social unrest ushered in the First Intermediate Period, a time of decentralization and competing local rulers leading to the eventual collapse of the Old Kingdom. To the south, the Nubians weathered the storm. Unbothered and resilient, they maneuvered through the 4.2 Kiloyear crisis with remarkable stability, preserving their cultural lifeways while their powerful northern neighbor, Egypt, faltered. Living along the rich floodplains of the Nile in what is now Sudan, the Nubian peoples developed distinct traditions and held firm to their footing in the region. While kingdoms rose and fell around them, Nubia endured, quietly building strength and identity in the heart of Africa. From the shifting sands of the Sahara to the rivers that cradled the first cities, humanity rose, layer by layer, step by step. This was the dawn, a time when the world was still being shaped. In stone and fire, in script and silence, our ancestors etched the beginnings of civilization into the earth. By hands, by tools, by words carved into clay. And though much has been lost to ruin and sand, their echoes remain, in ruins, in myths, in us. The journey of history had only just begun, and so the story continued. In the wake of the 4.2 Kiloyear event, many once great civilizations faltered or collapsed under the weight of environmental and social pressures. Yet from this turmoil emerged new centers of power and innovation. Though the 4.2 Kiloyear event marked the end of an era, it also cleared the path for new civilizations to rise, adapt, and reshape the ancient world. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe for more.